The rain was relentless that night, hammering against the cracked skylight of my tiny Williamsburg loft, a converted storage space that smelled faintly of damp wood and regret. It was 3:12 a.m., and I was hunched over my laptop, the glow of the screen casting shadows across a graveyard of empty Red Bull cans and half-eaten ramen bowls. My fingers danced across the keyboard, chasing a fleeting idea that felt like it could either save me or ruin me. I wasn't sure which. My name is Elena Torres, and 3 years ago, at 37, I did something most people called insane. I walked away from a cushy six-figure job as a neural network architect at a bleeding-edge AI firm in Silicon Valley to start my own gaming studio, Solstice Interactive, from a glorified closet in Brooklyn. The world didn't exactly roll out the red carpet. My younger sister, Vanessa, a corporate lawyer with a penthouse view of Manhattan, and a wardrobe that cost more than my annual rent, never missed a chance to remind me of my apparent midlife crisis. "Still playing with your little pixel toys, Elena?" she'd quip at Thanksgiving, swirling a glass of Pinot Noir, her perfectly manicured nails glinting under the chandelier. "You know, we've got a paralegal opening at the firm. It's not glamorous, but at least it's stable." My parents, bless their hearts, tried to be supportive, but I could see the worry in their eyes every time I dodged questions about my savings or my plan. The truth was, I didn't have much of either, just a stubborn belief that I was onto something bigger than anyone could see. That belief wasn't born in a vacuum. It started years earlier, during a late-night research binge at my old job. I'd been digging into adaptive AI systems, the kind that could learn and evolve in real time, when I stumbled across a theoretical model that made my heart race. It wasn't just about crunching data or predicting outcomes, it was about creating experiences that felt alive, that could mirror a person's emotions, decisions, even their unspoken desires. I scribbled the framework on a napkin, my coffee growing cold as I realized this could redefine gaming. Not just difficulty sliders or branching dialogue trees, but entire worlds that reshape themselves around the player, moment by moment, choice by choice. I tucked that napkin into a drawer and promised myself I'd come back to it. Life, as it does, got in the way: deadlines, promotions, burnout, until I couldn't ignore it anymore. So I quit. Packed my life into a U-Haul, drove cross-country, and set up shop in Brooklyn, where the rent was just affordable enough to give me a fighting chance. Solstice Interactive was born in that loft, with a second-hand desk, a wheezing laptop, and a vision that kept me awake at night. My family thought I'd lost my mind. Vanessa staged what she called an intervention over Zoom, her face a mix of pity and exasperation. "Elena, the gaming market is a slaughterhouse," she said, gesturing at a spreadsheet she'd actually prepared. "Indie devs go bankrupt faster than startups in a recession. You're throwing away a career for a pipe dream." My dad, ever the peacemaker, chimed in softly, "We just don't want you to get hurt, Mija." I smiled, nodded, and ended the call. Then I got back to work. The early days were brutal. I released a couple of small mobile games, a quirky match 3 called Star Weave, and a retro platformer called Moonskipto Keep the Lights On. They were modest, polished enough to earn a few thousand downloads, but nothing that would make headlines. Vanessa predictably had a field day. "I played your little star game," she said at a family barbecue, smirking over a plate of ribs. "It's cute. Like something a middle schooler would make for a science fair." I let her laugh, refilling her iced tea without a word. What she didn't know, what no one knew, was that those games weren't just side hustles. They were Trojan horses, quietly collecting millions of behavioral data points from players around the world. Every tap, every pause, every rage quit or triumphant cheer was feeding into my real project, an AI engine I called Lumora. Lumora wasn't just code. It was a living system, designed to watch how players move through a game and adapt in ways no game had before. It didn't just tweak difficulty or swap out enemies, it rewrote narratives, reshaped environments, even altered the emotional tone of the story, based on what it learned about the player. If you were impulsive, it might throw you into high-stakes chases that rewarded quick thinking. If you were methodical, it could unravel a slower, puzzle-heavy world that challenged your patience. It wasn't about giving players what they wanted, it was about giving them what they didn't know they needed. A game that felt like it was built for them alone. Building Lumora was like wrestling a ghost. I'd spend weeks chasing a single bug, only to realize it wasn't a flaw but a feature Lumora had taught itself. One night, I watched it rewrite an entire level in Starweave for a player who kept failing a jump sequence not by making it easier, but by turning the level into a story about overcoming fear, with new dialogue and visuals that matched the player's cautious playstyle. I sat back, stunned as the data rolled in. The player didn't just finish the level, they played for 3 more hours. That was when I knew I wasn't just making games anymore. I was building something that could change how we connect with stories, with technology, with ourselves. But the world doesn't care about your epiphanies when your bank account is screaming. By year 2, I was down to my last $3,000, juggling freelance coding gigs to cover rent while Lamora ate up every spare second. My loft became a bunker, blackout curtains, a humming mini fridge, and a whiteboard covered in cryptic diagrams that looked like the ravings of a conspiracy theorist. Vanessa's jabs grew sharper, especially after she saw my office during an unannounced visit. "Jesus, Elena, this is like a serial killer's lair," she said, eyeing the pizza boxes stacked in the corner. "You're one bad month from living in Mom and Dad's basement. Let me set you up with a headhunter." I shrugged, offered her a stale Oreo, and changed the subject. I didn't need her to believe in me. I just needed time. Time, as it turned out, was running out. I'd poured everything into my next game, a sleek endless runner called Pulse Veil. On the surface, it was simple. Guide a glowing figure through a shifting labyrinth of light and shadow, dodging obstacles to a pulsing synthwave soundtrack. But beneath the polish was Lamora, fully unleashed. Pulse Veil didn't just react, it learned. It studied how you played, what made you tense, what made you smile, and rebuilt itself in real time. One player might face a frenetic gauntlet of traps that mirrored their love for chaos. Another might explore a meditative maze that rewarded precision. No 2 sessions were the same, because Lamora wasn't just running the game, it was co-creating it with the player. I launched Pulse Veil on a rainy Tuesday, with $400 left in my account and a prayer. The first week was quiet, too quiet. A few hundred downloads, some lukewarm reviews calling it pretty but repetitive. Vanessa, who'd somehow found the game on the App Store, texted me a screenshot of a 3-star rating with a winking emoji. "Keep trying, sis." I didn't reply. I was too busy watching the back-end analytics, where something strange was happening. Players weren't dropping off. They were playing longer, deeper, sharing clips on Twitch and TikTok with captions like, "This game knows me too well," and "Is this thing haunted?" By week 3, the numbers were spiking: 10,000 downloads, then 50,000, then 200,000. Reddit threads erupted with theories about the magic behind Pulse Veil. A YouTuber with 1 million subscribers posted a video titled, "The Game That Reads Your Mind," and suddenly I couldn't keep up with the server costs. Then came the email that changed everything. Subject: Microsoft Gaming Partnership Inquiry. I stared at it for 10 minutes, convinced it was a scam. But curiosity won out and I opened it. "Dear MS. Torres," it began, "we've been tracking the unprecedented engagement metrics of Pulse Veil. Our team believes Solstice Interactive may have developed a transformative approach to game design. We'd like to discuss a potential collaboration." I read it 3 times, hands shaking, before forwarding it to my best friend Priya, a UI designer who'd been my cheerleader since college. Her reply was a single line. "Holy sh, Elena, you did it." A week later, I was on a video call with Microsoft's gaming division. My loft tidied just enough to look semi-professional. Their lead data scientist, a wiry guy named Dr. Caleb Nguyen, leaned into the camera, holding up a chart that looked like it belonged in a viral app's pitch deck. "These retention curves," he said, "they're not normal. Players aren't just sticking around theory-obsessed. We've never seen anything like this." I smiled, trying to play it cool while my heart did backflips. "It's the Lamora engine," I said, launching into a demo I'd rehearsed in my head 100 times. I showed them live feeds of Pulse Veil sessions, each player navigating a unique world shaped by their choices. One screen showed a teenager in Seoul racing through a neon-drenched cityscape. Another showed a retiree in Ohio solving intricate puzzles in a tranquil forest. "Lamora doesn't just adapt," I explained. "It understands. It builds a game that feels like it was made for you, because in a way it was." The call lasted 2 hours, with questions flying from every corner of their team. How did I handle data privacy? Ironclad encryption and anonymization. What about scalability? Already stress-tested on low-end phones. Could it work in multiplayer? Oh, you have no idea. By the end, Caleb was grinning like a kid on Christmas. Elena, we need to bring you to Redmond. This isn't just a game, it's a paradigm shift. I nodded, mumbled something polite, and ended the call. Then I screamed into a pillow until my throat hurt. The Microsoft meeting was just the beginning. Word of Pulsevale's mind-reading AI spread like wildfire, and soon my inbox was flooded with inquiries from publishers, tech blogs, even a shady NFT startup I politely ignored. I kept working, refining Lamora while dodging Vanessa's increasingly curious texts. Saw your game's trending, she wrote one day, no emoji this time. Dinner soon. I replied with a vague sure busy week, and got back to coding. I wasn't ready to let her in yet. 6 months later, I flew to Redmond for a formal pitch at Microsoft's headquarters, a sprawling campus that felt like a sci-fi utopia. I'd upgraded my wardrobe, goodbye thrift store hoodies, hello, tailored blazer, and brought a new demo. A prototype called Emberfall, a single-player RPG powered by Lumira's next iteration. The conference room was packed with execs, engineers, and a few skeptical faces who probably thought I was overselling a gimmick. I didn't waste time on pleasantries. 3 years ago, I left a stable career to build something no one believed in. Everyone told me gaming was a dead end, that I'd burn out or go broke. But I wasn't chasing trends, I was chasing a question. What if a game could know you better than you know yourself? I launched Emberfall and the room fell silent. The screen showed a medieval world of jagged cliffs and glowing ruins, where a lone wanderer navigated a quest for a lost artifact. But as I toggled between player profiles, the game transformed. For one player, it was a high-octane adventure, with ambushes and daring escapes. For another, it was a quiet mystery, unraveling ancient lore through cryptic riddles. Lamora doesn't follow scripts, I said, zooming in on the neural map pulsing behind the scenes. It's watching every choice, every hesitation, every burst of adrenaline. It's building a story that's yours alone. I invited Caleb to play a live session, projecting his gameplay on the main screen. Within minutes, Lamora had pegged him as a risk-taker, throwing him into a duel with a shadowy knight. The AI tweaked the knight's dialogue to match Caleb's competitive banter, and when he won, the crowd erupted in applause. The pitch ended with an offer that made my head spin. $150 million to acquire Solstice Interactive and integrate Lamora into Microsoft's gaming ecosystem, with me leading a new AI division. I didn't accept on the spot, I wanted time to think, to weigh what it meant to hand over my creation. But as I flew back to Brooklyn, the number echoed in my mind, along with a quieter thought, Vanessa's face when she heard. I didn't have to wait long. The news leaked before I'd even signed the papers, thanks to a tech blog with an inside source. By the time I landed, my phone was buzzing with missed calls, including 3 from Vanessa. I ignored them and went straight to my loft, where Priya was waiting with a bottle of cheap champagne. To the garage that changed the world, she toasted, and we laughed until we cried. But the next morning, reality hit. Vanessa showed up at my door, no warning, her usual polish replaced by something raw, shock, maybe, or envy. Elena, she said, stepping inside without asking. $150 million? Microsoft? What the hell is going on? I poured her a coffee and told her everything, not just the deal, but the years of doubt, the all-nighters, the moments I almost gave up. I showed her Pulsevale's backend, the neural maps that looked like constellations of human behavior. This is what I've been building, I said, pointing to a live feed of a player in Tokyo, their game world shifting to match their cautious strategy. Not toys. Not hobbies. This is the future. Vanessa stared at the screen, her usual snark nowhere to be found. I didn't know, she said finally. I thought you were just messing around. For the first time, I didn't feel the need to prove her wrong. I just nodded. I know. The Microsoft deal closed a month later, but I negotiated hard to keep creative control. Lamora wasn't just tech, it was my soul poured into code, and I wasn't about to let it become another corporate cog. I moved to Seattle, trading my loft for a sleek apartment with a view of Puget Sound, but I kept the old whiteboard from Brooklyn, its edges worn from years of scribbled dreams. On it, in faded marker, was a single line. Let them doubt you. I never erased it. Solstice Interactive became a division of Microsoft Gaming, and Lamora powered a new wave of titles that redefined the industry. Emberfall launched to critical acclaim, with players raving about its impossible depth. No two reviews describe the same story. Tech journals called it the dawn of living games, and universities started teaching Lumira's architecture in AI courses. But the real magic happened in the data. Millions of players forming emotional bonds with worlds that felt uniquely theirs. A single mom in Chicago wrote to me about how Emberfall's gentle puzzles helped her through a divorce. A veteran in Texas said the game's adaptive combat gave him a sense of control he hadn't felt in years. I read every letter, saving them in a folder labeled Why. Vanessa and I rebuilt our relationship slowly. She invited me to her firm's tech conference, not to speak, just to attend, and I went, curious to see her world. Halfway through a panel on innovation, she took the mic and told the room about her sister, the visionary who proved me wrong. The crowd laughed, but her eyes were wet when she looked at me. Later, over drinks, she admitted she'd been scared for me, not cruel. I didn't understand, she said. But I do now. I hugged her, and for the first time in years it felt like we were on the same team. The story didn't end there. A year into my role at Microsoft, I got an email from a 19-year-old in Detroit, a trans kid named Jay who'd built a game prototype in their basement. Their parents thought it was a waste of time, but the demo, a haunting puzzle game about identity, had Lumira's fingerprints all over it, without copying a single line of code. I flew them out to Seattle, hired them as an intern, and watched them blow our team away with ideas I hadn't even considered. Jay's game, Shatterlight, became Solstice's next big release, and when it hit 10 million downloads, I sent them a photo of my old whiteboard. "This is yours now," I wrote. Today, I'm 40, leading a team of dreamers who believe games can be more than entertainment. They can be mirrors, teachers, companions. Lumira keeps evolving, learning from every player, every story. My loft in Brooklyn is gone, but Microsoft built a replica at their Redmond campus, complete with the cracked skylight and the hum of possibility. They call it the cradle of the future. But to me, it's just homey, a reminder that the smallest spaces can hold the biggest revolutions. If you're reading this, maybe you're chasing your own impossible idea, ignored or laughed at by people who can't see what you see. I've been there, coding through the doubt, the debt, the dismissal. My advice? Keep going. Let them underestimate you. Build in silence, and when the time comes, let your work scream. Because sometimes the greatest victories aren't about proving others wrong, they're about proving yourself right.
If you were the one in this story, how would you react? Would you stand up and fight back, or accept the unreasonable pressure and control from the HOA? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video with more people. Your small action gives us the motivation to keep bringing you more intense and engaging stories. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.